Hey, what's up, loyal Cubs fans? Pretty cool Cubs game today. Cubs win the series against the White Sox, 6-1. And so the first game was a stinker. Quintana have it. Yesterday, Lester labored through 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, but it was over 100 pitches. Today was the best starting pitching performance by Kyle Hendricks, coming off a 8 2/3 game. And sometimes after those long outings, like statistically, you see a decline in the pitcher. I know I seen a stat earlier in the year that like pitchers that went like 120 innings or 100, that's a lot, 120 pitches. The next game, their average ERA was like a 5.5. I don't think Hendricks went that many pitches, what I recall. But 8 2/3 is going a long way. So he was over 100, and but today he looked fairly similar. He didn't strike out as many as last time, but he went through 7 2/3 innings, only gave up like 4 hits. Pretty amazing. 2 outs in the eighth, and he just got it done. It could have been 0 runs. Happ was playing right field. If there is a drop off from Hayward to Happ, well, anyone compared to Hayward, I think he's the best right fielder. And so there was a ball that Happ couldn't quite track down. But still pretty dang good. Only 1 run in 7 2/3. That really helps going into the next series, Pittsburgh, a much better team. And you have all your high leverage bullpen guys rested up. We only had to use De La Rosa today. Man, he's making a push to maybe be on the playoff roster. You could maybe almost consider him one of our top 4 or 5 better ones, the way he's pitching. I looked, he only gave up 3 earned runs, all his outings combined. You know, one game 2, one game he gave up 1, and I think one game there was a defensive blunder that wasn't called error, but it was a play that normally we make. But overall, he's been really doing well. Today he pitched an inning and a third, came in, got the last out in the 8th inning, struck out the guy, and then struck out 2 more in the 9th. So an inning and a third, retired all 4 batters with 3 Ks. That's pretty much best case scenario. So we go into Pittsburgh, and you know, everyone with De La Rosa had at least a day off. Pretty cool. We'll see what happens. Fairly even pitching matchups. Pittsburgh, too. I mean, they're doing better than what I thought. You know, I know they're somewhat in a seller's mode, but you know, around a 500 team or so. They did beat Milwaukee one game. Milwaukee did beat them 2 out of 3 at Pittsburgh, but you know, the series before Pittsburgh beat Milwaukee 2 out of 3. So they step up and can beat some good teams at times. Definitely this time of year, you're going to have a lot of teams playing the role of spoiler. But Cubs were able to persevere after kind of a stinker in Game 1 against the White Sox. It was disappointing, but we did come back, win the series, win on the road. Cubs play a lot better at home. It's statistically proven. So we finish off the last 7 games, so we don't even have to get on an airplane coming from the south side, go back up north side in Chicago, and have 4 games at home against Pittsburgh, and then 3 games versus the Cardinals. Hopefully we get it clinched where it doesn't necessarily come down to the Cubs-Cardinals matchups, but also it would be kind of exciting to have an opportunity to maybe knock them out of not making the playoffs. So we'll see. As far as the Cubs hittings, you know, last 2 games the bats really showed up. That's good. You know, we're seeing more games where the pitching and the hitting is on the same page. I know we like to see that every day, but it's not going to happen every day, no matter how good you are. But it was pretty cool. We got off to a great start, you know, up 3-0 in the first. Just a lot of great, you know, at bats. Murphy and Sobers getting on. Rizzo with an RBI. Bodie with an RBI. You know, guys like Happ and Almora had ground outs to get RBIs. I mean, all the little things add up to get as many runs as possible. Helped us win 6-1 today. And just, you know, Sobers, he was batting .316 after starting off 3 for 3. And at the time, real time, he was had the second best batting average in the National League. So that was pretty exciting. Exciting news. And first is Yelich for the Brewers, hitting 322. So chasing him for a batting title. I know Sobers has a goal to be over 300. It's looking like he should. We'll see. Still 7 more games. He'll probably play 5 or 6 more of those games at least. But after only hitting 232 last year, one heck of a remarkable turnaround. Like the best he ever hit was 297. And hitting 300 or more is almost a thing of the past. By the time end of the year, when guys get 500-600 at bats, there's just a small handful that are hitting above 300. The days of Tony Gwynn and Ted Williams. Ted Williams hit over 400. It's been a couple decades since someone flirted with getting close to 400, but to get over 300 with the days of the defensive shifts, you have all these relievers that are really specialists that can come in and get 3 outs quickly. Starters don't go as deep. It's kind of became more of a pitcher's game, so it's definitely a huge accomplishment. Anymore, if you hit above 280, that's pretty good, but there's on-base percentage, slugging percent, other factors that make you a great player. So pretty cool. Kind of the real-time Cubs with the win today. They remain 2.5 games ahead of Milwaukee. Magic number is 5, and 7 games we have left. Milwaukee has 6 games left. Looking at who our opponents are, we play Pittsburgh and then St. Louis. We're at home. They're good teams. Cardinals have won 3 in a row, and they're fighting for the playoffs right now. They would be that second wild card spot if the season ended today. Milwaukee, they play at St. Louis, so that will be interesting. And St. Louis is on a 3-game winning streak. Milwaukee, they scored a lot of runs today. They beat a pretty tough road series against Pittsburgh. And so that will be interesting to see how that plays out. Probably be pretty competitive, close competition. And Cubs just need to take care of business. I know Milwaukee finishes up with Detroit. People act like that's guaranteed 3 wins, but Detroit did beat St. Louis 2 out of 3, one series. So you never know what can happen. Just like people were shocked that the White Sox beat us game 1. Quintana didn't have it, or relievers didn't have it. It's baseball. Things kind of work both ways. Kind of like people may dismiss what Hendricks did today, his great performance, saying, well, it's against the White Sox. Well, we've seen Lester battle through 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, threw over 100 pitches, and then we've seen Quintana not have it. Gave up 5 runs. To me, it really should have been 4 runs. He left with the runner on first, and Maples gave up a 2-run homer, and the pin was just a disaster 2 days ago. Was not good on Friday, unfortunately. But I say we got good 5-6 bullpen guys that I feel pretty good about. Having good bats and getting a lot of runs make things easier. Starters going deeper. That's always going to make things very much easier. Very few teams can expect great results from all 7-8 of their bullpen guys. I know this time of the year, I think we have like 13 bullpen guys or something, but there's a lot of guys like Chatwood just kind of riding the bench right now. Things are too important to risk some of these other guys. We already tried risking Maples, and his ERA's over 12. As great as he was at Iowa, he's just not getting it done at the big league level. Over last year he made his debut, and then this year, so part-time, getting small sample size, but he's getting rocked a lot of times. But if Cubs were to slip and Milwaukee bypasses, still a pretty probable chance will be in the playoffs. Looking like if we were to even slip behind St. Louis and get the number 2 wild card spot, we're like 5 games or something like that over Colorado. Or I think the magic number would be 2, put it that way. And won, we'd be in a tie with them. And after these ties happen, sometimes you have these play-in games where you play October 1st, and I'm hoping Cubs stay out of this whole extra play-in game, and no more rainouts where we got to play a game hopefully at the end of the year type of thing. We don't have any days off going forward. So, and right now Milwaukee has 6 games left and we have 7. And it seemed like that the whole year at some point we're like 4 games we played less than them with more rainouts that we dealt with. And so right now we just have 1 less game we've played than them. After Thursday we'll be tied with games played. So we'll see, that Thursday game could help us or hurt us. But even 1 or 2 more losses by Milwaukee could be pretty devastating. I was hoping they'd lose today and then they would be 4 losses behind us. Gets to be a lot of losses when they only have 6 games left to play. Puts a lot of pressure for them to win it all, but they are playing pretty good ball. So is St. Louis. The other thing to look out for is Atlanta is 3.5 games back of us. We hold on, win the division. Getting the number 1 seed would be helpful. Right now we're 3.5 better than Atlanta, so that would make a difference as far as having home field advantage throughout the playoffs, no matter who you play. And Cubs have a much better record at home opposed to the road, so that could be pretty huge. So we'll see. I think the only other games with playoff implications right now going on is Dodgers. They're winning, and Colorado, they're winning at the moment. Dodgers have a division lead of 1.5 games over Colorado. And then Colorado's like 1.5 games back of St. Louis. I guess 2 games right now because St. Louis won. So they're not only fighting to win the division, they're fighting to at least make the playoffs. And so it's getting interesting. So good day for Cubs. People were panicking after we lost game 1 on Friday and pitching was bad. And it was one of those games. We didn't start scoring runs till kind of late. Well, we had 1 run on Murphy's opening bat and then nothing until the 8th inning. We scored 3 runs, cut it to like 10-4. But sometimes that happens when things get really bad with the pitching. Hitters start to press and it's kind of steamrolls. But it's baseball. It does happen. No game's a guarantee. But I do like Cubs' chances of being in the playoffs and even winning the division, having the number 1 seed. And, although Milwaukee's kind of had her number in the recent series we played, I do like Cubs' chances of beating them in the playoffs because if they're the wild card team, they're going to have less rest than us. So I think that could benefit us, and then we'll have the home field advantage. So a lot can happen. Sometimes whatever happened in the regular season almost doesn't matter. I remember 2015, we beat the Mets 7 times out of 7, and then they had our number in the playoffs with Daniel Murphy. But this year we have Daniel Murphy. He's got the playoff experience. So exciting times for the Cubs. Got to keep winning. Go Cubs, go.